5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then very gently stretch the arms in front of you. Look at your palms. On the next inhale, push the palms away from you, stretch the arms, suck the belly in. On the exhale, you're bringing your hands up towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep your arms as straight as you can, trying to push the palms up towards the ceiling. See what happens on the lower part of the abdomen as you're bringing the arms up. And then on the next inhale, keep your left hand up towards the ceiling, right hand down towards the floor. Inhale, lengthen the left side. Exhale, lean towards your right, bending the right elbow, looking down towards your left armpit. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, come back to the center, left hand behind you, left hand on the block, right hand up towards the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen the right side. Exhale, lean towards your left, bending the left elbow, keeping your right arm as straight as you can, so that you can really feel the stretch on the right side of the body. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center, right hand behind you, left hand over the right knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your right, chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your right shoulder. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine, don't lean on your arms. On the exhale, you're using the arms to twist towards your right. So even now, as you're doing these postures, you're already activating the core muscle. On the inhale, come back to the center. On the exhale, left hand behind you, right hand over the left knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your left. Chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your left shoulder. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center, let go of the block. Place it somewhere where you can grab it during the class, and also you will need pillows, because today is the sort of more restorative yoga, so we're going to stay the second part of the class into poses more longer. So just grab hold of a lot of pillows if you can. Keep them somewhere where you can grab them easily. Come on your fours, hands directly underneath the shoulders, shoulder width apart, knees directly underneath the hips, hip width apart, top of the feet on the mat. On the next inhale, you're looking forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out. Exhale, curve the back towards the ceiling, pushing the bum towards your hands, looking down towards your knees, crunching the abdominals. Inhale, look forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out. Exhale, curve the back towards the ceiling, push the bum towards your hands, looking down towards your knees. And you're going to do it 2 more times, following your breath. And then you're coming back into a neutral position. Tuck your toes under on the inhale. On the exhale, push the bum up, looking down towards your feet. On the inhale, you're bending the right knee, transferring the weight onto the left leg. On the exhale, you're bending the left knee, transferring the weight onto the right. So nice and long movements, following your breath. And we're going to do it 1 more time each leg. And then on the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet hip width apart. Grab hold of the opposite elbow. Inhale, look forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees. Fold forward, letting go of the head. Feeling that pull into your upper back. And making sure that you're pointing the top of the head down towards the floor. Nodding your head a couple of times. Turning your head right and left. And then very gently bringing the body towards your right leg and then towards the left. And then coming back into a central position, let go of the hands on the floor, tuck your chin under, bend the knees, and exhale, you're coming up into a standing position. Head last to come up. Come to the top of the mat, Big toes are touching. We're doing the mountain pose. So we're distributing the weight into the middle of the feet, so you're not leaning too much on the front, neither on your heels. Stretch your toes as much as you can, so you're really spreading them into the mat. Big toes are touching. And then once you've put the weight into the middle of your feet, start pulling the kneecaps up to re-engage the lower banda or the lower abdominal lock. You're tilting your pelvis under, so you're feeling that pull into the lower abdominal. Suck the belly in, open the chest, tuck the chin under, arms by your sides with the fingers pointing down towards the floor. And then now really engage with the core. Today we're going to work on the hips, okay? So all of the different poses will be opening up the hips. Place your hands in front of your chest, close your eyes. Set an intention for today's practice, which is your intention. And also, I would also invite you to start focusing your breath on the, focusing your mind on the breath. So you're trying to keep your breath nice and long throughout the class. And that would also help you to sort of focus the mind into the moment. Now open your eyes if they were closed. We're going to do 3 sun salutations. The next two, the last two are going to be with a variation, okay? The disclaimer. So when you're participating in any exercise or exercise program, you incur the possibility of injuring yourself. So if you voluntarily participate into this class, you do so at your own risk, okay? Now, the first one we're going to do together at a basic level, and then I'm going to show you the variation that we do, okay? Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, look up at the hands, suck the belly in. On the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips, bringing your hands either on the shin, the ankle, or the mat. On the next inhale, press through the hands, look forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, hands on the mat, step the right leg out into a lunge, left leg to meet it into a high plank. Now we're setting the plank, so we are on the tiptoes, you're pushing the heels away from you, squeezing the bum, so you're pushing the bum forward, the pelvis forward, and then you're bringing your shoulders above the wrist. On the exhale, knees to the floor, leading with the chest. You're rubbing the elbows by your side, bringing your chest down to the floor. Top of the feet on the mat, hands underneath the shoulders. On the next inhale, peel the chest off the floor, roll the shoulders away from you, look forward. The elbows are bent. On the exhale, tuck your toes under, come into your hands and knees. Bring the seat towards your heels and you're coming up into a downward dog. Stepping your feet forward, so you're trying to bring the heels down to the floor. The feet are hip width apart, and you're aiming to keep your legs as straight as you can while you're bringing the heels down to the floor. There's a few tricks. If you're feeling quite tight onto the hamstrings, you can come on your tiptoes, bending the knees, pushing the bum up, and then keeping the bum where it is. You're straightening the legs as much as you can. Looking down towards your feet, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet together. Exhale, you're folding forward, letting go of the head. On the next inhale, you're coming up a little bit, engaging the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Okay, so the variation that we're gonna do for the next two is to open the hips. So if you look at me first, don't do anything. When we're coming into the downward dog, we're gonna bring the feet together, we're gonna lift one leg up, and then we're gonna bend our leg so that the heel comes to the opposite side of the bum, opening the hips to the side, okay? The tendency is that you're putting all the weight into one arm, so you're really trying to keep equal balance on the arms, okay? From here, you're squaring the hips and you're trying to bring the foot in between the hands, and then we're coming back up, okay? So feet together. On the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, either step or jump into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank. Exhale at a low plank or knees to the floor. If you're doing low plank, you're coming halfway down, looking forward, roll the shoulders back. On the next inhale, push the body through the hands, straighten the arms, roll the shoulders back, look forward. top of the feet on the mat. On the next exhale, tuck your toes on the downward dog. Walk your feet together so that basically the big toes are touching. Now make sure you're keeping the weight equally in both arms. On the next inhale, you're lifting the right leg off the floor, pointing it up towards the ceiling, and now you're bending that knee, trying to bring the right heel towards the left buttock, and then you're opening that hip to the side, making sure the arms are equally taking the weight. Looking down towards your left foot, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Really feeling your right hip opening up. On the next inhale, square the hips towards the front, and now you're trying to bring that right knee towards your chest, and then you're stepping the right foot in between your hands, and on the exhale you're meeting the left foot with the right. Exhale, you're folding forward. On the next inhale, you're coming up a little bit, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. So we're going to do on the other side. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press to the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, either step or jump into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank. Exhale, a low plank or knees to the floor. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. Start walking your feet into the middle of the mat. Make sure you've got equal balance on the arms. On the next inhale, lift the left leg off the floor, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, you're bending the left knee, trying to bring that foot, the left foot, towards your right glute. Now make sure you're still having equal weight onto the arms, and then turn the left hip towards turn the hips towards the left, looking down towards your feet, making sure that your left arm is still straight, so it's not coming off the mat. So you're really targeting the hips rather than turning to the sides. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, square the hips towards the front. On the exhale, you're bringing your left knee towards your chest, landing the left foot in between the hands. Inhale, bring your right foot to meet the left, and exhale, you're folding forward, letting go of the head. On the next inhale, you're coming up a little bit, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Okay? Okay, so we start with the warrior 2. So we start hands on the hips, feet together. You're stepping with the right foot, quite a long stance. The longer your legs, the bigger the stance should be. And your right foot is pointing towards the edge of the mat. Now put the weight onto the edge of the foot, lifting the inside of your right arch. And then on the next inhale, bend the front leg, still wanting to see the big toes, making sure you're guiding that left knee out, sitting between the legs. On the next inhale, bring your arms parallel to the floor, roll your shoulders back, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and you're looking towards your left hand. So on the next inhale, concentrate on the right foot, placing the weight onto the edge of the foot. On the exhale, you're guiding the left knee out. So you're really constantly working on opening up the hips in this position. Inhaling to the count of 5, and exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, straighten the front leg, hands on the hips. You're taking a short step forward and then coming to the top of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to do on the other side. Feet together, hands on the hips, step with your left foot out. The toes are pointing towards the edge of the mat. Weight onto the edge of the foot, lifting the inside of your left arch. And then on the next inhale, you're bending the front leg. You want to still see the big toes, so guiding that right knee out. Sitting between the legs, so don't lean forward. If you're leaning forward, you're taking basically the stretch out of the hips. Sitting between the legs on the next inhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Roll the shoulder back. By squeezing the shoulder blades towards the spine, you're working on the back wings and you're looking towards your right arm. I tend to have them, so I need to work very hard on them. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, concentrate on the left foot, put the weight onto the edge of the foot. On the exhale, concentrate onto the right leg, guiding the right knee out, and you can feel that the stretch enhances on your hips. Last breath here, inhaling to the count of 5 and exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, hands on the hips, straighten the front leg. On the exhale, take a short step and then step to the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Come to the top of the mat, feet hip width apart. So when you're stepping back, you're maintaining that hip width stance. On the next inhale, hands on the hips, you're stepping with the right foot out into a lunge. So you're on the tiptoes of the right foot, the heel is off the floor, but you're trying to keep that right leg straight by pushing the heels back. The front leg is slightly bent. And now on the next inhale, bring the hands up towards the ceiling, roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Really feeling that stretch onto the front of the right hip this time. And then what we're going to do now, we're going to straighten the front leg on the inhale. On the exhale, keeping that right leg straight, you're bending the front leg. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. So you're keeping your right leg as straight as you can, and that deepens the stretch on the hip. Last one, inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Now bring your right knee down onto the floor, hands on the hips. Now push the hips forward, feeling that stretch onto the right hip. Bring your right arm up towards the ceiling and lean slightly towards your left and backward. So you're leaning left and back, feeling the stretch onto the right hip. And then on the next inhale, come back into the center, walk your left foot out, and then you're bringing your hands just underneath the shoulders with your left hand on the inside of the left foot, okay? Now you can stay here. You can also come on your forearms if you want to, but actually stay on your hands actually, because I want you to straighten the right leg, looking down towards the floor, hugging the left knee onto your shoulder, sucking the belly in, and now you're squeezing the right glute. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, start bringing your right knee down onto the floor. Keep your right toes tucked under, hands on the hips. We're going to try to stand up. Walk your left foot back in the center a little bit. Straighten the right leg so you're standing up again and you step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a nice shake on the legs. Eddie comes and goes. This dog just participates in the yoga class when he wants. Okay, feet hip width apart. Keep maintaining this hip width stance. So with your left foot on the next inhale, come into a lunge, tiptoes off the left foot, and then push the heel away from you so you're keeping that left leg as straight as you can. The right leg is slightly bent. Looking forward, feeling the stretch already into the left hip, the front of the left hip. On the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling to enhance that stretch onto the left hip. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Breathe into that left hip. So the more you're bending the left leg, the less stretch you're getting on the hip. So really push that heel away from you, keeping your left leg as straight as you can throughout the next moves. On the next inhale, straighten the front leg. On the exhale, bend the front leg as comfortably as you can do it. 70% on the stretch you need to achieve. On the next inhale, straighten the front leg. On the exhale, bend. Push that heel away from you so the left leg is straight. Last one, inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, bend all the way, so yeah, you're bringing your left knee down onto the floor. Hands on the hips. Push the hips forward, so you're feeling that opening up of the front of the left hip. And then now you're lifting your left arm up towards the ceiling and you're leaning slightly towards your right arm back. Looking forward. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center. Walk your right foot out, so it is almost at the edge of the mat. And then you're placing your hands underneath the shoulders with your right hand on the inside of the right foot. The right shoulder is touching the right knee. And then tuck your left toes under, straighten the left leg. You might have to walk your left foot out a little bit. Looking down towards the floor, sucking the belly in, squeezing the left glute. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. Last breath here. Squeeze that right knee onto the shoulder. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, bring your left knee down onto the floor. Come up, hands on the hips. Walk your right foot back in the center a little bit. Tuck your toes under. Straighten the left leg and step to the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, so these are the last of the standing poses. You're coming with the feet about 2 feet hip width apart, and the toes are slightly out to the sides, okay? Now hands on the in front of your chest in a prayer position. You're starting to squat back and you're trying to squat all the way down onto your feet, okay? So you're really sitting in between your feet. The hands now are in front of the chest as they are, and the elbows are on the inside of the knees, pushing the legs out. You can slightly come onto the right foot and then onto the left. If you're somewhere here, just stay here and push the knees out, okay? So wherever you are, if you're sort of halfway down, it's very difficult. So come up and stay there for one more breath. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then we're just gonna sit into the mat, shaking the legs a little bit. And then we're coming on our fours, okay? So, hands directly underneath the shoulders, and the knees are underneath, okay? Now, you're coming on your forearms. And now, you're bringing the left knee into the middle of the mat, and you're lifting your right leg off the floor. Now, we're gonna start to make a circle with the hip, okay? So the knee is bent. You're bringing the knee forward, opening it up to the side and bringing it back to the center. If you feel like you want to do it on your hands, you can do it on your hands. Just be careful that you're not overarching your back, okay? Change the direction of the circle. So for now you're kicking the knee out and you're bringing the knee in, so kicking them back, bringing them around. One more. Bring the knees down. Decide which version you want to do, either on the forearms or on your hands. I'm gonna go on the forearms. Knees together. Lift the left leg off the floor. Bring the knee forward, open it to the side, making a circle. And now change the direction of the circle. So this time you're kicking the knee out and then bringing it around. Okay, bring the knees together. Come into your hands and knees. Now keep your feet touching, your big toes touching. The knees are as wide as the mat and you're sitting into your heels. This is where you might want to get a pillow. So the knees are wide, the big toes are touching. You can put a pillow in between your bum and your feet and you're leaning forward. And then you're bringing your left arm out to the side. So you're bringing your left arm into the side of the mat with the palms facing up, and you're bringing the left side of the head down onto the floor. This is when we start slowing down the pose. So you might want to have a pillow also underneath your head. Really breathe into the pose. Now sort of slowing down the breath. You're starting to really breathe into the hips, into the top of the feet. Feeling that you're gently opening up the hips with every breath and focusing on the hips. Last 4 breaths here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And last 2 breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And now very gently come back into your hands. And now we're going to do it on the other side. So if you need to put a pillow on, also underneath your feet, do so. I'm going to get rid of it. You can also put a pillow on the front to put your head. So I'm going to turn the other side. You're leaning forward, you're placing your right arm on the floor with the shoulder onto the floor, right side of the head onto the floor, sitting on your heels as much as you can. And now really breathe into the hips, allowing the pose to sort of start activating your fascia and stretching the fascia. So what we're aiming with by keeping the poses for a little bit longer is to start affecting the fascia. The fascia is this sort of sheet of collagen that wraps around all the muscles and organs in the body. And studies have shown that staying in a pose for more than 3 minutes, or at least 3 minutes, sort of changes the fibers of the collagen, which are sort of spiral in nature, and it stretches them, so it allows you to have longer term stretches into the body. Okay, last 5 breaths here. Make them count. Breathe in any area of the body that feels uncomfortable or tight and allow it to open up. Last 2 breaths here. Inhaling to the count of 5. exhaling to the count of 5, inhaling to the count of 5, and exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, come back on your hands, just move the pillows out of the way, and we're sitting into the floor at this moment. Now bend the knees, bring your feet on the mat, lean back a little bit, and just give yourself a little bit of a shake on the legs. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna open to the side. So we're gonna stretch the right leg out, and we're gonna bring the left heel as close as you can towards the groin. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna lean towards your right, opening up the right hip. So you might want to bring a couple of pillows, yeah, in here, so that when you're leaning back, you're relying a little bit on the pillow, because we're gonna stay here for a couple of minutes, okay? So you can use a couple of pillows or not. Okay, right hand is on the right leg, left hand is on top of the left knee. On the next inhale, you're pushing on your left hand, so you're turning the torso towards your left, and then you're sliding that right hand along the right leg. Once you've reached a point where you're feeling that you've got the stretch, but you're not overstretching, then you bring your left arm all the way around. Now, this could be quite challenging for 3 minutes, so stay here for maybe a minute, and then you can bring your left hand down, okay? And then you can lean on the pillow. So if you double the pillow, if you've got a couple of pillows on top of the right leg, you're leaning on that, okay? And then once you're tired with your left arm, you're just bringing your left arm onto the leg. Now, to be safe with your neck, you're pointing the chin towards your left armpit, and you're staying there. Inhaling into the left hip and waist. Nice and long breaths. Chin to chest. We're not going to stay here for the full 3 minutes. So last 4 breaths here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. Inhaling to the count of 5. And exhaling to the count of 5. Last breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5. And exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, very gently come back to the center. Get rid of the pillows if they were using them, and we're swapping the legs over. So we're bringing the right leg in, extending the left leg out to the side, bringing your right heel as close as you can towards the groin. Okay, if you need a pillow, place it on top of the left leg. Left hand alongside the left leg, right hand on top of the right knee. On the next inhale, push onto that right hand, turning the torso towards your right. On the exhale, slide that left arm down the leg, and then when you reach your point, bring your right arm around, chin towards the chest, leaning towards your right armpit. So you don't want to create a lot of stretch. You want to stay at about 60-70% stretch, because if you're overstretching, you're actually doing the opposite result as extending the fascia, because the fascia feels threatened, so it shortens, okay? So less is more in this type of class. Reconnect with the breath, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Make sure you're safe with the neck, so you're pointing the chin towards your chest. Whenever you're tired with your right arm, you can bring it down onto the right leg. Just make sure. You can also use it by basically pressing the right hand onto the knee, turning that torso slightly more onto the ceiling, but make sure your chin is protected, your neck is protected by pulling the chin towards the chest. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. So you should feel a pull onto the right side of the hip, all the way from the back to the sides and the front. Last 4 breaths here. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And last breath here. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up. Feels quite a big stretch onto your right hip. And then now bring the feet together. And again, just give yourself a little bit of a shake on the legs, leaning back a little bit. Okay, now grab hold of the block. And you can either put it this way or this way, okay? So we're gonna basically ending up resting our forehead onto the block. You're having your feet with the soles of the feet together, and you're opening the knees out to the sides. Now you can put pillows underneath the knees, so that when you're in this position, you're basically resting the knees onto the pillows. And this is for the ones that really have got a lot of problems with the hips. So you can put 1 or 2 pillows underneath the knees. And also you can grab, that's what I told you, a lot of pillows. You can also have something in between the belly and the legs, so that when you're falling forward, you're resting the belly onto the pillows, okay? So prepare yourself for this pose. Okay, on the next inhale, you're placing your hands on your feet, and then on the exhale, you're folding forward, relaxing the head onto the block. So you might have to adjust the block where it is. And then if you're comfortable here, you can bring your elbows out to the sides, grabbing hold of the feet. And now really focus your breath and your attention onto the hips, okay? You don't have to be completely engaged in the core muscles. You should be able to engage the front of your abdominals, but you're not leaning forward at the hips when you're normally doing this position, okay? You can also rest your belly onto the pillows between your legs and the belly. And now, very gently, we're focusing onto the right hip, and we're allowing it to relax it by letting go of the right knee. So we're trying to let go of the right knee and guide it down towards the floor. So if at this point you're getting more tension and you're becoming uncomfortable, put pillows underneath the right knee. And now focus your attention onto the left hip, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to release the left knee. So try not to hold it up and prevent the stretch from happening. You're starting to relax the left knee onto the floor, allowing the more stretch onto the hips. But more than that, you're basically allowing the flow of energy to go onto the hips. So instead of tensing up, you're keeping yourself relaxed, allowing the blood and the breath and the circulation going around the hips. 5 more breaths here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. Inhaling and exhaling. Focus your mind on the breath and on the hips. And then on the next inhale, first we come back up into a seated position. Bring the knees together. Now lie on your back for a second. So we're bringing the hands in front of the knees and we're pulling the knees onto the hips, releasing the front of the hips, chin to chest. So when you're pulling the knees towards the chest, you can lift the bum off the floor, and that you're really feeling the front of your hip flexors sort of relaxing. And then start rocking back and forward because we're coming back up for the last exercise sitting, and then we're going to do one lying down, okay? All right, so you're straightening the left leg. So you're pointing the toes up towards the ceiling of the left foot, and then you're hugging the right knee towards the chest. Now with your right hand, you're grabbing hold of the top of the foot. Lean onto the left side, okay? So you're rolling onto the left bum cheek, and then you're bringing that right leg into a 90-degree angle from the front, okay? The closer the heel is to the bum, the less of a stretch you get. The more you're opening up the lower leg, the more stretch you're gonna get. I suggest, because we've done quite a lot, let's go on the easier position, okay? Now hands either side of the left leg. On the next inhale, suck the belly in, open the chest, and on the exhale, you're walking your hands forward. Again, you can use quite a few pillows here to lean onto that left leg. Okay, so you can also put it like that, lean forward. If you're in this position here, just stay in this position. We're gonna basically stay 2 minutes in this pose, okay? It's because it's quite painful onto the right knee. Now, refocus on the breath. Try to stand as tall as you can. And start focusing your mind onto that right hip. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. Nice and long breaths, really breathing into the right hip. With every breath, you're just trying to relax into the pose. Last 4 breaths here. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then very gently start rolling onto your left side so that you're lifting that right leg off the floor. Hug that right knee towards the chest and release it onto the floor. You're going to prepare for the other side. So right leg straight, roll onto your right side, hug the left knee towards the chest, grab hold of the top of the foot and bring the leg out to the side. Now, you want to open the foot out, so you're flexing that foot, okay? So the foot is not underneath, so you're not leaning onto the top of the foot. You're opening that foot out slightly to the side. That gives you a little bit more of a stretch onto your left hip. Hands either side of the right leg, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. Inhaling to the count of 5, inhaling, opening the chest, and exhale, you walk your hands slightly towards the feet, okay? You still want to maintain a straight spine. If you need to, you can also put a pillow underneath the left foot, the left knee. And if you want to really lean forward, you can also put a pillow between the leg and the torso. Breathing into this hip. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And now, as you're doing this pose, just start scanning your body. It's almost like every time you're doing these poses, you're trying to basically become more and more aware of your body. So start scanning quickly your body from head to toes and become aware of what parts of the body are uncomfortable on this position. If you're leaning quite forward, is the right leg and the right armpit, the right hamstring that feel tight. If you're standing quite a little more up, is the left hip that is gonna be more uncomfortable. So start breathing into that area. And more importantly, as you breathe and focus onto that area, start surrendering to the pose. So instead of creating tension as you're doing this pose, just open up to this pose. Again, reaching 70% of your range of movement. And then we're going to do the last 4 breaths here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. Last 2. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. Inhale. And exhale. And then start walking your hands back to the center. Now lean onto your right side so that you can sort of bring your left knee towards the chest and release it down onto the floor. Now shake your legs a little bit. Again, we're going to lean back, okay? So we're placing the hands in front of the knees and we're rolling back onto our back and hugging the knees to the chest. Tuck the chin to the chest. We're going to do the last pose here and then we're going to do a little bit of relaxation, okay? So bring the feet down onto the mat and you're bringing your right knee, your right foot on top of the left knee, opening the right leg out to the sides, and then either you're bringing your right hand on top of the right knee and gently press down onto the right knee. Otherwise you can grab hold of the back of the left thigh, bringing that left leg towards you, flex your right foot so the right knee is safe, tuck the chin to the chest. You can also use a pillow underneath your head. Again, you're trying to achieve about 60% of your stretch, okay? So you're feeling the stretch, but you're not sort of tensing up. This is quite important because as we're gonna stay here for another minute, you're gonna try to basically relax in the pose. Reconnect with the breath. And again, just start scanning the body from head to toe. And basically what you want to also identify is any areas that are feeling tense as you're doing this position. So not only stiff, but also where you're holding the tension. And it could also be just the neck, okay? You're not relaxing the neck properly, okay? Last 4 breaths here. And then very gently just bring the knee down, the foot down towards the floor. Bring the feet down and just give yourself a little bit of a shake. And we're gonna do it on the other side. So you're placing the left foot on top of the right knee and you're bringing the left knee out to the side. Flexing the left foot so that you're protecting the left knee. And then either you're just pressing down onto the knee with your left hand. If you found that holding the knee up was too much, then just do this for this side of the knee or the hips. Otherwise, you can grab hold of the back of the thigh, bringing the legs towards the chest, chin to chest, relaxing the body, nice and long breaths. And then start scanning the body. So start from the head all the way down to the toes, identifying any area that feels uncomfortable or where you're holding tension. And then as you become aware of that, start letting go of the tension that you're holding and start loosening up that tension by just allowing that area to open up, sending the breath there. Nice and long breaths, sort of helping the body to relax with every breath that you take. Last 4 breaths here. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then very gently bring the leg down to the floor and again just bring your legs down onto the floor, hug the knees to the chest. Stay here for a breath or two. And then start rocking back and forward. So you're coming up into a seated position so that basically we can set up for the last pose. If you've got a few pillows, just bring the pillows underneath your back, okay? And then you can also bring some pillows onto the side of you because we're gonna try and keep the knees out to the side for the next class, okay? If you find that your hips are tired, then you're coming into the Shavasana with the legs just down to the sides. Entirely up to you, so you decide what's best for you. What I want you to do though is to roll up a pillow and just lie on top of that pillow so that you're basically also supporting your head with it, or you can use an extra pillow for the head. So you're opening up the chest to the ceiling, and then either you have your feet lying onto the mat, flopping to the sides, or you can bring the soles of the feet together and bringing the knees out to the sides. Whatever you feel more comfortable. You need to be able to relax at this point, so just choose whatever you're feeling more comfortable with. And then we're gonna start relaxing all the different parts of the body. And then again, use the same technique that we used in each pose to just focus onto that area and just consciously trying to relax it. Relax the top of the head, relax the scalp, so all the area that is covered by your hair. Relax your forehead, relax your temples, relax your eye sockets, relax your nose, relax your cheeks. From your nose, you're scanning all the way onto your cheeks, into your ears, relaxing also the ears. Relax your upper lip, relax your mouth, and relax your jaw. And just scan your mouth and jaw and just see if you're holding any tension there, and just try to release it. Relax your chin, relax the front of the neck, and relax the back of the neck. Relax the top of your shoulders, going all the way into the shoulder joints, and relaxing the shoulder joint, relaxing your upper arms, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists and your hands. Coming back to the top of the shoulders, relax the space in between the shoulder blades and relax the shoulder blades. Relax the middle of the back, relax your lower back, relax your glutes, and you're coming under and over your reproductive organs, relaxing your pelvic area. Relax your lower abdomen, so the area between the pelvis and the belly button, and relax your upper abdomen, so the area between the belly button and the rib cage, traveling up on the rib cage, relaxing the rib cage, the chest bone, your breasts, your collarbones, going into the shoulder, relaxing the armpit and going down the sides of the body, all the way down into the waist and the hips, relaxing the hip joint,